All right, Chris, we have Coach here, so we're ready to go ahead and get started.
Sounds great. Welcome, Coach. The floor is yours.
Okay, beautiful. So just first of all, welcome to everybody. And certainly it's great to be back in Kinnick itself. That's the first time we've been there this spring. And even better to be there with fans. First time since a year ago in November. So just great to have, live people in the stands and that provide a little bit of electricity for everybody. And, I think certainly we're all hopeful it's a sign that we're moving in the right direction right now as a country. It seems like things are getting a little bit better. Not that I've been out a lot, but that's certainly a good indicator. And also a nice touch, really neat to have the wrestling team out there to be honored. It was so disappointing a year ago when they're on the verge of winning a national championship and not to be able to finish it a year ago at this, in March. So for them to do what they did this year and achieve such a high level, just absolutely fantastic, and compliments to all of our teams. They're all doing so well, and some have done so well. Season's over, but team's doing a great job right now. And even the women's soccer, great win at Penn State the other day. So just really happy for all the athletes and the coaches that are having such success, and great to share the field today and have a chance to honor the wrestlers. So happy about that. And then, going back to just, being in a routine, it's been really good to have an uninterrupted winter program. That was big for us. And then to start spring practice 3 weeks ago and now finish up week 3, that puts us at, 2/3 of the way done. Still a lot of work to do, but just to be in a rhythm where we're working, day to day, Monday through Saturday, basically, and having some semblance of routine that's been badly needed. And, it's all good. And then as it, transitions into football, certainly that's what spring practice is all about. Been really pleased with the attitude of our players. I think they've worked hard, showed up each and every day with a good focus, whether it's meetings or practice. I think they've had a good attitude there. But clearly we have a lot of work to do, and that's true in any spring. But I think the fact that last year we didn't have spring practice and didn't have a normal camp makes it even that much more significant. Certainly for our first-year players, this is their first spring, so it's all new to them anyway. And they're still trying to figure out, a lot of things about what we're doing, whether it be offense, defense, or special teams. But you look back, last year's first-year class, our second-year players now, they didn't have a spring practice last year. Again, they've never gone through a normal preseason. And so they've missed out on a lot of fundamental work. And I think that's shown on the field, has showed. And will continue to show, I'm sure, the rest of the spring ball. But with that, we're seeing improvement, and most of it's guys flashing here and there, that type of thing. But we are seeing improvement. Guys are making incremental gains, and with 2 weeks left now, the challenge is to try to develop a little consistency with that performance. And that's what we got to do. And I think I explained before, we're not overly worried about putting the whole thing together. It's not what the whole thing looks like. It's more about the individuals and the groups, how they're progressing and coming along. So, we'll finish up here 2 weeks from now, and then have 4+ months to get ready for the season, 21 season, and every step along the way is really important. But just in summarizing again, I think our veteran players, our guys with experience, have performed well. They're also doing a good job leading. That's where it all starts. We're not going to have a good football team next fall if they don't, not only play well, but elevate their play. So I think they understand that they've embraced that responsibility. So, now we just continue to work, and, it was great to be outdoors, great to have a nice day like today. So that being said, I'll throw it out for questions.
Thank you, Coach. I believe everyone knows the drill. If you have a question, please throw your hand up in the chat or the reactions button. The first question this afternoon, Coach, is from Scott Docterman.
Good afternoon, Kirk. How are you?
Good, Scott. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. I was interested in watching Alex Padilla out there, and he got a lot of work with the ones and the twos. Seemed to have command on one drive for sure. How has he progressed as a quarterback, and where does he is he still clearly number 2? How's the competition going at that position?
Yeah, I think, I've said it 3 weeks ago and probably feel the same right now. Spencer still has a real advantage from experience, and he's doing a nice job. And then after that, it's wide open right now, and we have rotated pretty liberally. We may talk about that rotation moving forward here, and to work 4 quarterbacks is a little bit of a challenge. But I think after Spencer right now, it's wide open, and I'd probably say Alex and Deuce are probably the closest to each other at this point, and then Connor's done a good job too. So, it's way too early to call it. And, if one of them can elevate past Spencer, so be it. But it's all about competing out there. But overall, just pleased with the group. I think all 4 of the guys have made progress from last year, and certainly have a lot of opportunity for more progress as we move forward.
Coach, the next question from Mark Freund.
Kirk, good to see you. What did you think of the wide receiver group today? I thought obviously Tyrone stood out, but a lot of guys seem to be doing some good things, especially with all the new faces.
We consider Tyrone a starter. I know we had 2 seniors last year, but we consider Tyrone to be a starter. He's done a lot of good things the last 2 years for us. And, I think he showed that today. He's ready to play and has practiced really well. He's done a good job giving us good tempo out there. Then the other guy that's not practicing right now is Nico Reganey, but we consider him to be a starting caliber type player too. And then after that, it's really interesting. It's a land of opportunity for everybody, including the 2 newcomers. And we're seeing some good things today. I think saw some flashes from guys. And when I talked a minute ago about some younger players, that have flashed, they just don't have that consistency in their play yet, but they've shown that they're capable of, hopefully helping our football team. So the challenge for those guys between now and September is to just demonstrate on a little bit more continual basis and develop a little bit more, confidence from the coaching staff and their teammates about their play. But yeah, we're definitely seeing some guys flash, and it's really an interesting group right now with a lot of good competition.
Next question, Coach, from Leah Ban.
Hey, Coach. I noticed that Joe Evans was getting quite a bit of work on the edge today, and I was wondering if you could speak to how he's been doing lately in spring.
Yeah, Joe's not exactly the same as Tyrone Tracy, but kind of similar. He emerged last year. Maybe actually going back 2 years ago. I'm thinking about the Minnesota game out here. But he really has just worked hard since he's been here. I think we have all of us. I think I speak for everybody. We have total confidence in Joe, the way he plays, the way he does things, and not that he's not improving right now, but we look at him, we look at Zach. Those 2 guys have had some experience, and then happy about that. And then John Wagner's done a really good job at the end position also, and we are rotating those 3 guys with the first group right now. And John, you talk about guys that haven't played but are doing things pretty consistently. John and Noah Shannon, both in that defensive line group, are just a tier below Zach, and Joe's probably somewhere in between. But they've been practicing pretty consistently. They've been in the program, and they're demonstrating right now they have a good feel for what it takes to play and play successfully.
Next question from Chad Leistico.
Hi, Kirk. A guy I had to look up in my program was Louis Steck. I did not, not familiar with him. Can you tell me about him? And then, the other guys that didn't perform, Black, Jones, and Lee. Jones played a little, I think, but are those guys okay? Just minor stuff?
Yeah. So the guys that weren't out there, you can just assume, they're dealing with injuries, and it's part of football, part of spring football, certainly. So, nothing to be majorly overly concerned about, but and guys have been in and out. So, fortunately, I think we only had one guy injured today. But Louis is getting work and has gotten work all spring. Louis is an extremely tough guy, and he's taken good advantage of the opportunities he's gotten, and is working hard. He's not the tallest guy in the world, but he's got good leverage. Very tough to move out of there, and he plays with a lot of effort and determination. He's a mentally tough guy.
The next question from Matthew Bain.
Hey, Coach, I know you touched on it a bit with the newcomers, but if you could talk specifically about just Keegan Johnson and kind of the versatility that he brings. I saw him practicing even a bit at gunner in special teams. Just what type of stuff does he bring to this offense in an immediate role?
Well, he's a talented guy. We thought he was when we recruited him, and that's obviously why we recruit people. But you're never sure about a prospect till you get them on campus. And in his case, he chose to come in January. First thing I would say, he does have more than enough requisite ability. I don't think that's an issue at all. But the first thing that really jumped out at, I think probably all of us, is just his attitude. He's a really serious, it's hard to make him smile sometimes. He's really serious and really focused in kind of an unusual way for a younger guy. And, so he's given himself a chance to get some work, and he's taken advantage of that. Certainly got a lot to learn, like all young players, but no, he's done a good job. And then, we grade guys, special teams the same way. You saw, we did one of those coverage drills today. We do a lot of that kind of stuff in the spring and camp. And it gives everybody on the roster basically a chance to show themselves. And if they can do a good job in those drills, then, LeVar is really apt to put them in, in the schemes of whatever phase it might be. So we're always on the lookout, and that's, younger players have that's a first avenue to the field a lot of times. But pretty much whatever situation he's been in, he's handled it in a real focused, mature way. And he's given himself a chance to, enter into the mix. And he's part of the competition at the receiver position, as is Arlen Bruce.
Coach, the next question from David Eicholt.
Yeah, Kirk, I think in the first press conference before spring started, you guys had talked about just how few players have actually gone through spring football, just because of how unusual the circumstances are. Was there any difficulty as far as adjusting back to spring football, and just with the lack of experience, was there kind of just an awkward period of trying to get everybody readjusted to spring football?
Yeah, so I actually had a show of hands our first practice. Afterwards, I just, asked for a show of hands, how many times or how many of you guys have never been through spring ball. The exact number was 65, because I pulled out the roster and looked at it at that point. Got me curious. It was well over half, and it was 65 first and second year players that we have. And then we've got guys that joined us in January, another, 6 to 8, 9 guys. So basically, you're looking at over 70 guys that never have gone through spring practice. There's nothing magical about it. It's practice. It's football practice, a little bit more emphasis on fundamentals and individual work than teamwork. And there's no scout teams in spring ball, and we do the same thing in camp. So it's just us playing against us. But the idea is to have good competition, create good competition, and create an opportunity for guys to learn how to play with a good fundamental base, regardless of the position. So, yeah, there's no big adjustment other than our base was not good, is not good. We're not, and you saw that, especially in the second groups were in there, some things that just weren't very fundamentally sound that are going to get you beat pretty much every time in the fall. So it's kind of a race against time, really, for guys to learn how to play. And it happens for all players at different times, different levels of their careers. But that's what the race that you run as a player. And this is 15 opportunities plus, 15 good meeting opportunities for guys to really improve and grow as a player. And that's really all we're asking each and every one of them to try to do.
Coach, the next question from Scott Docterman.
Yeah, Kirk, I realize that all these players are on a different track, but we haven't really seen much or anything out of these guys. And one is Logan Lee, another one is Elijah Yelverton, and a third, David Koff. Kind of what's their situations this spring, injury status, and if will they be available in the fall?
Yeah, so as I mentioned a minute ago, you can pretty much assume, with the exception of one player who unfortunately was in the media attention this past week. Otherwise, if a guy wasn't practicing to do that, it just means that he, wasn't able to go medically. And as far as I know, I don't think there's anybody that's missing right now or not able to practice that we don't anticipate to be healthy when we start up in September, or I should say August. So, that's a situation like every year. But the sad part about it is it's just opportunity that's missed for all three of the guys you mentioned. And some of the guys have been in and then out, and then, some just have been out. But it's a missed opportunity, just like last year was a missed opportunity for our whole football team. But you can't worry about that. It's part of the game, always has been, always will be. And what you have to try to do is focus on the guys that are out there working, try to coach them the best you can. And then the guys that aren't able to work, they can, if they're smart, they'll take advantage of the, they may not be working, but they can watch the guys at their position being coached, watch them do things right and wrong, and learn from it as well. So, we try to encourage everybody to stay active mentally and do their best use their other senses. If you can't be out there playing, then use your ears and eyes to the best of your ability.
What is Josiah Meehan's status right now? Is he suspended or is he still with the program at all?
Yeah, we gave him some time off. No, he's still with the program, so we just gave him some time off to think about things. And so he's been out of the building this past week. And right now, I anticipate him returning back with us on Monday.
Coach, the next question is from Corey Roldan.
Hey, Coach, Tyrone Tracy was really explosive today. What have you seen out of his growth and thoughts on the defensive line's performance?
Yeah, so, Tyrone, as I mentioned a minute ago, we've considered him to be a starter. And I think he's taking advantage of the repetitions that he's getting. He's getting more work now. There's a little bit more room. And, you saw out there, he's got the potential to be a dynamic player. We've seen that over the last 2 years. The thing I'm most pleased about is his attitude. And the other thing I would say is his versatility. And he's been that way as a player since he's gotten here, but he's a really versatile guy. We can move him around. And, he can play all three spots basically, which is really helps us as a team. And the defensive line, we're young, but it's interesting, Van Valkenburg's not young. He's almost as old as I am. But, then you got the other guys, that tier of guys like Joe Evans, John Wagner, Noah Shannon, they've been here. All three of those guys have been in the program and they've been on the field a little bit. So I think they're what we're seeing right now, and it's kind of like the last couple of springs. You graduate guys and you wonder, okay, who's going to step up and fill these roles? Think back a couple of years ago about Cedric Lattimore and Brady Reef. It became very apparent that spring that hey, these guys are ready to play good football, and they did. They played really well as seniors. So I think we're seeing some of that right now with that second group of guys. And then after that, we're really young right now, and every snap out there is so valuable. So. You get past that second tier, it's a bunch of young guys, 6, 7 guys that are in that first, second year group, and they need every rep right now, but they're competing well and they're doing a lot of good things. So it's going to be, that race against time would be interesting to see where they're at in August.
The next question from Chad Leistico.
Hey, Kirk, just overall, would you say the quarterback play today was pretty representative of what you've seen so far through 8 or 9 practices this spring?
Yeah, spring, it's always ups and downs. And, it might be bad protection. You might have bad throws. You might have poor routes or whatever. There are a lot of variables. But, I think it's been a good, healthy competition. And, we'll just keep taking it day by day like we've been doing, and maybe give a little bit more commentary after 15 workouts. But yeah, I think it's been pretty much consistent.
Coach, we'll take 2 more questions. The first one is from Leah Van.
Yeah, I hate to keep the focus on the quarterbacks, but I wanted to know, individually, what do you think each one's strengths are, and especially what you saw today? Yeah,
I'm not good at that game maybe, but the first obvious thing about start with Spencer is just, he's got experience and he's got leadership capabilities. So, it's only fair to assume he's a little bit more confident in those leadership qualities than some of the other guys, because he has been out in the field. He has been our quarterback for the year. And, I think he's built on those things. So that's smart on his part. Why wouldn't you do that? So, but, I think we already got a good picture of him last year, what kind of quarterback he is. Now, to me, the challenge is just that consistency part, which I know accuracy is part of that. Yeah, I think he spoke of that when he was interviewed this past week or the week before. But that to me is in that consistency package. It's just, it's like any of our experienced players, guys that have been out there. If they stay static, we're really not going to be going anywhere as a football team. So he understands that. He's working on that. And then, with the other guys, it's just, getting confident with what they do. And they're a little bit different. All three of them are different players from each other, but that's really not what's significant. It's just them getting confident, being more decisive, being more assertive as players. I think that's really what it gets down to for a quarterback.
Coach, the final question this afternoon from Celia Palermo.
Hey, Coach, curious how you see Xavier Williams fitting into things. Brad transferred from UNI. How has he kind of transitioned into things for you guys?
Yeah, Xavier got off to a slow start only because he was dealing with an injury the latter part of the winter program, and that impeded his work in week 1. So week 2, he's able to start getting back. So he's dealing with 2 things right now. He's dealing with, getting back to full speed physically, where he can be a little bit more confident. He's clearly not, let me backtrack. I'll go back to January when he showed up. He's clearly not like a typical freshman, right? He's an older guy. He's a very mature guy, not only physically, but also mentally. So, he's got that going for him. He's not overwhelmed out there in the field, but he did have to deal with a little bit of a physical setback that happened, like I said, the second part of the winter program. And then the other obvious thing is, it's a different system right now, different techniques, different calls, all those things. So he is like a new player there. It's like one of the transfers from that standpoint. I think it's a little bit easier for a guy that's been in a college system. I think he, has a little better feel for college football. But I don't think you saw today probably what you're going to see in August, and just it'll probably be the same way 2 weeks from now. I don't think it's fair to think that he's going to be 100% in terms of just being decisive and confident as a player. But I'm really glad he's on our football team. He's first of all just a first-class young person, and then secondly, I think he's got a chance to really help our football team. So we'll let that play out. But he's not quite ready for that right this second, that's for sure. But I wouldn't rule him out. That'd be my advice on that one. So.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, Coach. Thanks for popping up, saying hello, and thanks for taking your time this afternoon.
Appreciate it, guys. We'll see you in a couple of weeks here. Thank you.
Thank you. Back at it this week with assistant coaches and players. Players Tuesday, assistant coaches Wednesday. Let us know if you have any questions. Thank you.